One of the few activities that resemble an endgame in Warframe is Eidolon hunting, and we can't talk about Eidolon hunting without mentioning the Lanka. Hey guys, hello and welcome back. As always, my name is Leyzar, and today we're gonna be diving deeper into this Mastery Rank 10 sniper rifle. There's a lot of things to cover. I'm gonna be covering a normal everyday build, something that you'll be using in your normal missions, but of course we are going to be diving deeper into an Eidolon setup, and we also have a Riven so you guys can see what the Lanka is capable of. That being said though, please keep in mind that my builds and guides usually follow a more new player friendly approach, simply because there's a lot of info here and I want anybody watching this video to understand how the weapon functions and how it should be built. So if you're a veteran of the game and already know most of the basics, then please have a little patience. And with that out of the way, let's jump into the Lanka. Let's begin by checking out how the weapon handles without any mods equipped. Now, one of the main features to any sniper rifle is the scope. The design on the scope is similar to the Snipetron and Snipetron Vandal, the whole design of the weapon. You have 3 zoom levels. The first zoom level is 3.0x and plus 0.2 critical chance. Second zoom level is 5x and 0.3 critical chance. And the last one will be 8x and 0.5 critical chance. You'll see that the Lanka needs a charge time in order to fire. That is by default 1 second, after which you release your button and it will fire an electric bolt. It does have innate electricity damage. You are not forced to charge all the way through, but as you can see, you can hold the charge in until you're good and ready to fire, and you can even sprint during this time. The option you have is to charge 33% of the way, but if you do charge 33% of the way, then you're only gonna be doing 200 electric damage by default instead of the max value, which is 525. Now regarding the scope and the combo counter, first off, that critical chance that you get will get added after the modded crit chance. So for example, if your Lanka has a modded critical chance of 50% at full scope, you'll be getting another 50, but not multiplied. It will add after your modded value, so in total you will have 100% critical chance at the 8x zoom level. When it comes to combo counter, you need 2 shots to get the combo counter going on the Lanka, as you'll see right under my crosshairs, and the combo decay is longest of all the sniper rifles, 6 seconds, and that is because of the charging time that the Lanka has. In any case, let's jump into stats and see precisely what we're dealing with. Mod capacity is 60 out of 60, and if your Lanka only has 30 out of 30, then jump into actions and plug in an Autocane Catalyst. The Autocane Catalyst can be obtained from alerts, invasions, or if you're lucky, from the daily sortie. More often than not, check the invasions after dev streams. My weapon has been formatted a total of 8 times because, well, I need to test a whole bunch of stuff, but for the weapon builds I'm recommending you guys 5-6 format should do it. Accuracy is 100. Now this one kinda led me astray. Initially I believed that this is a beam weapon and I can use heavy caliber without losing any accuracy. Unfortunately, that is not the case, and more on that later. Charge rate by default is 1, critical chance is 25%, and the crit multiplier is 2.0. Very good crit chance and a nice multiplier. Fall off pretty much standard for all sniper rifles. Fire rate is 1.0 as you saw, because again, the charge rate. Magazine of 10, this is the biggest magazine capacity of all sniper rifles, and you get a punch through of 5.0. Though keep in mind that the punch through only applies to the charge shots. The 43% shot will not have any punch through. Reload 2.0, and again, considering the high magazine capacity and the 2.0 reload, you're not going to be having much downtime with the Lanka. Then again, it's not like a rapid fire weapon. Riven disposition is 3 out of 5, which will mean that the Rivens will be quite nice, and a status chance of 25%, which is again high. High crit chance, high status chance usually spells OP. Is it the case? Well, kinda. It has default electricity damage, and that's a lot of damage. 525 unmodded, that is huge, and the Lanka boasts the highest modded damage of all the sniper rifles. You need to think of this electricity damage as being the last in your mod setup. As you may know, elemental combinations are always 2x2, and you gotta think of that electricity as being somewhere around here when you take into account elemental combos. In any case, let's start slapping on some mods. Incineration is 100% mandatory, 165% extra damage. When you're talking damage, there's a discussion about heavy caliber. Heavy caliber fully maxed out will add the same amount of damage as Incineration, but it costs 55% accuracy. Is it playable on the Lanka? Yes, you can go for it if you so desire, especially for Eidolon hunts. Just keep in mind that you will be needing to be close to your target in order to get the full multi-shot on the joints of the Eidolon, because again, that is the primary use of the Lanka. If you're too far away, then some of your multi-shots might land off the joint, so therefore heavy caliber will turn around to bite you in the butt. Here's a bit of a compromise that I tested and worked just a little bit better. Try a heavy caliber with 2 from the top. It will work just a little bit better, and the 135% extra damage is definitely worth it. Honestly, I tried everything I could to like heavy caliber, but for normal everyday missions, I am still not in love with it. In any case, we got our damage. Let's go into multi-shot, and we're going to be adding split chamber for 90% multi-shot as well as vigilante armaments. Now, we're adding vigilante armaments strictly because of the 60% multi-shot. The set bonus is nice, yes, and this is a crit weapon, high crit chance, absolutely, but still, we're not firing that many shots. We're adding vigilante armaments to get a 50% chance to fire a third bolt at our target. Very well, we got damage, multi-shot. What follows next is crit chance and crit damage. Crit chance with point strike, which will bump up our crit chance to 62.5%. And let's go back to the zoom for a second. If I fully zoom in on the 8x, that means 50%, so my total crit chance will go to 112%, 0.5 just with point strike alone. Now that is definitely huge. It allows the Lanka to orange crit, which is the second tier a crit. Very well, we got crit chance. Let's go into crit damage, and it's gonna be vital sense for 120% crit damage. We're gonna be talking about Argon scope and stuff like that just a little bit later. Next, what we want to do is further amplify our damage with elemental damage. Once again, the primary use of the Lanka is Eidolon, and against Eidolons you want to use radiation damage, which is the combination of heat with electricity, and we're gonna be doing that just a little bit later. Our initial test will be against Grineer. Now these are heavily armored targets. They have 2 types of armor. Ferrite, which is weak to corrosive, and alloy, which is weak to radiation. If you guys by any chance want to take the Lanka against the corpus, then building magnetic will deal more damage to their shields, but you can just build toxin, which will bypass their shields entirely and deal damage to their health. Up against the infested with the Lanka, as bad of an idea as that is, you can just go for fire, or it doesn't really matter. As hard as this weapon hits, you're gonna be one-shotting pretty much everything up to level 150 to 100, and you'll only see those enemies normally in endurance runs. In any case, like I said, we're up against Grineer, and we're gonna be modding for corrosive. More often than not, that is your best bet. Should we go for the 90 mods or for the 60-60 mods? Now, when it comes to sniper rifles, especially ones that pack this big of a punch, I recommend you guys go for the biggest amount of damage you have and just one-shot absolutely everything and forget about status and status chances. So we're gonna go with the 90 mods. Got my electricity, and now I'm gonna get my toxin with infected clip, and now I will make a whole bunch of corrosive. Now my corrosive value is 9.7k. That is because of the weapon's innate electricity value, which simply washed into my corrosive, being the elemental combo of toxin and electricity. 9.7k corrosive, that is absolutely huge. As for our final mod slot, this is what I like to call an option slot. The biggest issue with the Lanka is that blasted charge rate. That is what it kind of keeps it from being too overpowered. And to alleviate that somewhat, you can go for fire rate. So let's explore fire rate options. Vigilante Fervor unfortunately is the weakest out of the bunch, but if you slap this one on, then you're going to be getting the 10% chance to enhance critical hits from the Vigilante set. To be honest, I don't really recommend it. Here's a solid option, Speed Trigger. Speed Trigger 60% fire rate, which will bring down our charge time to 0.63. My favorite and my recommendation to you guys still remains Vile Acceleration, simply because that is huge. 90% fire rate at the cost of only 15% of the damage. That is a very small difference. However, if you guys are interested in doing the highest amount of damage you can, then I would recommend you go for Bladed Rounds. Now, Bladed Rounds is a very smart idea on the Lanka because it has guaranteed crit chance just with point strike alone on the 8x scope. And this is gonna be our initial build, so let's test it and see what the Lanka can do. We're gonna be spawning in Corrupted Heavy Gunner level 120, and I'm gonna go for an 8x scope and use that default 5 meters worth of punch through. Now this is without the buff from Bladed Rounds, and this will be with the buff from Bladed Rounds. As you can see, the Lanka is a bloody monster, an absolute beast, and it can one-shot these high-level targets with only a 2.5 shot combo counter. Wow! I mean, most players shy away from using this weapon in normal everyday missions simply because it is a bit quirky, it is a bit funky to use because of the charge time it has. But there's no denying that the Lanka packs one serious punch. Now, it is very usable when it comes to killing one big target really quick, such as an Eidolon, or maybe you want to take it into a boss fight and just one-shot a boss, similarly to how you would use an Opticore. In any case, let's go back to stats and make a couple of changes. Let's go for some fire rate with vial acceleration so you guys can see the difference. Which one should you draw? Bladed rounds or vigilante armaments? It's really up to you. Crit damage is very important, definitely, but more multi-shot will mean faster combo counter. The choice is yours. I usually drop bladed rounds. Of course, we're going to be respawning the exact same targets, and notice that my combo counter has completely dropped and now my shots are charging a whole lot faster than before. 90% fire rate will make a big difference to the usability of the Lanka, and if you want to take it in normal everyday missions, though I doubt many of you want to, then I would recommend you look into some fire rate. Now, I know some of you want to talk about bloody hunter munitions, don't you? Yes, well, very well, let's slap on hunter munitions. To be honest, I think it's pointless considering the weapon's power and considering how much damage it does. Hunter munition doesn't have much of a role. You can go and slap on something like a viral setup with it if you so desire to limit the health of your targets, and I'm gonna show you the difference. This one is with corrosive. Yes, do we get a proc? Yes, we do. There we go, 12,000 worth of slash on the target behind the first target I hit, and it will bleed out. Nope, almost. No cigar. We got combo counter now. Slash proc killed it. We got another slash on the target, 17,000. That will outright kill the target. Another slash proc there, look at that, 17,000 and 4,000 something respectively. Absolutely bloody beautiful. Yes, you can go for hunter munitions. The only prerequisite to a hunter munitions weapon is to have a high critical chance. And of course the Lanka does have that, especially considering its zoomed out scope. Now that is with corrosive. Even though you do understand that that took more shots to kill the target, right? But I guess if you want to take it into endurance runs, which I don't really think the Lanka is for, you can go for something like this. But what about viral? Want to run viral on it? Sure, why not? Viral is the combination between cold and toxin, so let's look into getting some cold on the weapon, and we're gonna be dropping Stormbringer and adding cryo rounds. Now I got a whole bunch of viral, 6,000 and something, but of course my electricity is left alone somewhere here as it will not combine. Prime cryo rounds, there you go. I can actually fit prime cryo rounds. There you go. We're gonna go like this and see what is the difference. I honestly do not recommend such a setup. I'm simply showing it because I'm sure some guys would want to see it. You got a viral proc, there you go, right behind the initial target. Slash proc, no kill. That's a kill. And that is an actual electricity proc on the target together with a slash. As you can see, something like this, in all honesty, is simply not worth using. Not on a weapon, not on a sniper that deals this much damage. But you do have that option if you like viral builds, if you like hunter munitions build, and whatnot. I do not recommend it. In any case, now that that's out of the way, let's jump into a Riven setup. And this is my, let's call it, regular setup for doing missions. Even though, to be honest, I don't really take the Lanka, I take the Volcar Ray for Vectis Prime. But don't tell anybody that. I got Argon Scope for the additional critical chance. And my Riven has crit damage, and minus status duration. Which doesn't bother me because I don't run slash builds. I mainly use the Lanka for Eidolon hunting or maybe one-shotting a boss. Vial acceleration is a must for me because I cannot stomach the weapon without it. So let's see what kind of a difference do we get with a setup such as this. And of course we're going to be re-simulating the exact same targets, shoot them from way over here. Fast charge rate, that is a must when if you ask me. Definitely in normal everyday missions you want that extra fire rate. You don't want to wait forever on the weapon to charge. And when you release your bolt, which does have travel time to it, maybe somebody already killed your target. So there is that to take into account. Yes, Rivens do make things better, but let's get into the nitty-gritty. The Lanka is used for Eidolon hunting. So let's showcase an Eidolon setup, and this is what I usually run. Serration, Vital Sense, Point Strike and Split Chamber are mandatory mods, and when going up against Eidolons you're gonna need radiation damage, which is the combination of electricity together with heat. So of course, Hellfire with Stormbringer, and the weapon's innate electricity value will wash into the radiation, which is one of the reasons why the Lanka packs such a big punch. And of course the Riven we showcased earlier, and Vigilante armaments. Now I run Vigilante armaments, but you can go for heavy caliber. The difference in damage, as you can see, isn't overly huge, and you will get an ugly spread on your multi-shot, sometimes with heavy caliber. You can offset this by coming in closer to the joints just to make sure that when that ugly spread does kick in, you're gonna be hitting all of your multi-shot, well, multi-shot shots, let's call it like that. One quick note about Warframe buffs though. Now everybody might have their Madurai Void Strike, or maybe there's a Volt there so you can shoot through his shield to get that additional damage, or maybe there's a Chroma blowing up absolutely everything. But when it comes to the aura, what you should use is Deadeye. Deadeye will increase sniper rifle damage by 52.5%. It's an aura, everybody will get the benefit, and it is stackable so you can get it ×4. And in case you didn't know why my target sprouted flowers earlier, that is because of Peculiar Bloom, and this one is not mandatory for Eidolon hunts. In any case, when it comes to arcanes, only arcane acceleration is mandatory on the Lanka. On critical hit, 20% chance for 60% fire rate rifles for 6 seconds, and the usual +1 arcane revive. Farmable from the second Eidolon down on Cetus, and this will reduce your charge time quite significantly. As for your second arcane, you can use a whole bunch of things, but if you're just getting now into Eidolon hunts, look into Arcane Nullifier. 80% chance to resist a magnetic damage effect and the usual +1 arcane revive. That big AoE scream he does when he drains all your energy and does a lot of damage, that is a magnetic effect, and you will alleviate that with Arcane Nullifier. Next, I'm gonna be rolling some footage from our Eidolon hunts. I got examples for you guys with and without Void Strike, with and without Volt Shield, and with or without Rhino Roar. So we're essentially now down on Cetus, getting ready for the night cycle to begin. Many players do this right before the night time starts. We get down on Cetus and we start charging up our Void Strike. Now that is a specific talent in the Madurai focus tree, and if you don't know what that means, well, just play through the story and you will. Charging up Void Strike will guarantee us a lot more damage on our amp shots or our weapon shots, it doesn't really matter. You can always track the stacks on the upper right corner. As you can see now, I am on 77 stacks, I'm going Void mode, and I'm gonna be charging up some more. And we use energy pads so we don't have to leave Void mode.
Oh god.
There you go.
Shield down.
Easy mode.
Okay, it's all you. Are you one-shotting it?
Yep. Not as much as I thought without Void Strike. Kinda slow.
Okay.
Energy spike. I advise. Energy spike. I advise falling back.
Beast ball.
Energy spike. I advise falling back.
Done. Oh, that was good.
Advise falling back.
Oh my god, one shot. Easy mode, GG. So how do you like it? Pretty powerful but a bit clunky. That kind of sums up my thoughts on the Lanka. Now of course I am fully aware that most of you guys will not have a Riven for the Lanka because these things are bloody expensive, and to be honest I'm not really sure they're worth. No, I'm sure they're not worth. So if you don't have a Riven, you can go for heavy caliber. Just keep in mind to offset it with your positioning. When you're going Eidolon hunting, it doesn't always go according to plan. Sometimes you get knocked around, sometimes the Eidolon turns away from you and your charge shots might be missing the target altogether. If you're looking for a more comfortable solution for a sniper to go Eidolon hunting with, then look into the Victus Prime as well as the Rubico. Those would be my recommendations, links in the cards now. And that's gonna conclude my build guide on the Lanka. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, favorite, share and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. If you have any feedback for me or would like to request a specific weapon review, then by all means leave it in the comment section down below. I can't realistically promise you that it will be done by next time, but I will be reading through each and every comment. But until next time guys, bye bye.